Good morning, guys. Let's get cracking. So today's 30-minute class, we're going to begin lying down on your back in your relaxation position. You don't need any equipment for today's class. So come on and join me on the mat. And let's just bring our knees right up to your shoulders to begin with. Bring your hands on the front of your knees and just draw the knees in, allowing the lower back to imprint into the mat. The hips might lift and we'll just roll from side to side. Just loosening out the lower back before we get going. And then when you're ready, set one foot at a time back down onto the floor and lengthen the arms out along the mat towards the heels. Relax the shoulders, relax the head heavy into the mat, and we're just going to focus on our breathing for now. And we're going to do 5 breaths, and we're going to count for 5 as we inhale and count for 5 as we exhale. So let's go. Breathing in and out, in, out, in, out, in, and out, in, out, and last one, out. Lovely. So hopefully that just getting energy and air into the body. We're using those muscles to breathe in and wakening up the muscles of the core as we exhale. And let's go into our shoulder drop now. So can you float your arms up towards the ceiling, fingertips reaching up, and let's reach the fingertips higher. So we're trying to reach up towards the ceiling and then release to let go. So we're breathing in as those fingertips reach up and breathe out as we release back down again. Turn the palms to face each other. And just do 2 more like that. And then we're going to alternate so that the right hand reaches above the left hand, so lifting the right shoulder off the mat and then coming back down. And then reach the left shoulder across the body up above the right hand and release. Just alternate like that. So draw the hand the whole way across the body so we're getting a slight rotation of the upper body. Nice. And then turn your palms to face your knees. We'll go into a rib cage closure. So keeping the ribs heavy on the mat. As you breathe out, reach the arms back overhead. And then as you breathe in, we're going to circle the arms all the way around down by our legs. And breathe in again as we float the arms up overhead. And breathe out as the arms come back. And then breathing in as the arms come round and exhale. Let's do 2 more like that. So floating the arms back, keeping the ribs and the trunk of the body still. So you circle the arms all the way around. And you're going to finish with your arms facing or pointing up towards the ceiling again in our shoulder drop position. And from here, imagine we're just going to open the arms out wide to the side. So really open through the front of the chest and then squeeze those arms back together. It's as though you've got a massive big concertina that you're pulling apart and then squeezing those arms back together again. And we're going to add to this now. We're going to keep doing our arm flies, but then as you open out, you're going to let your right knee drop out to the side. Imagine we've just got a little cup of tea sitting on our pelvis and we're not trying to disturb that cup of tea. So the hips stay anchored into the ground throughout as that knee opens out to the side. And then we'll just alternate and do the same on the opposite side. Keep your arms still and facing up towards the ceiling. We'll continue with that leg slide, knee opening, and we're going to add in a leg slide. So can you open one knee out to the side and then reach that leg out long away from you? And then we'll rotate so that the toes face up towards the ceiling and draw that knee back in again. Let's do the same on the opposite side. So the knee rolls out to the side. Keeping the hips level, we're going to lengthen that leg out along the floor with the toes facing away. Roll the toes up towards the ceiling and then draw that leg back in again. Do one more like this to each side. And we're keeping the opposite foot, the leg that's not moving, that big toe stays anchored into the ground to help keep the hips level. And can you finish off this one for me? And we're going to go into our leg slides, so opposite arm, opposite leg. So we'll start off with the right leg reaching away, at the same time the left arm reaches back overhead, and then breathe out, draw the leg up and the arm comes down by our side. Let's do the same with the opposite side now. So the left leg reaches away, right arm reaches back overhead, and then we'll bring arm and leg back up, right arm comes down by our side. And let's do 4 more of these to each side. So think about real energy through the legs and the arms as you reach away, so that they're really toes trying to reach as far away from the leg, or the hands, and then we're drawing them all back in together. We're really using that power from our core to draw the arms and the legs back in together. And finish off with this one, or do 2 more to even yourself up. And then we'll get ready to go into our spine curls. So you might want to walk your feet slightly closer towards your hips. We'll have the arms reaching out along the floor. And then when you're ready, scoop the tummy so the imprint in the lower back into the mat. And then we'll start to peel the spine, 1 vertebrae at a time, up off the mat. Take a breath in at the top. And then as you breathe out, soften the ribs down. And then the mid back, the lower back, and the hips down onto the floor. And off we go again. Let's see if we can get a little bit more height this time as we start to work through the spine and iron out any little creases that are there. Take a breath in at the top and then exhale. Use that exhale the whole way throughout, to lower in the back down onto the mat and settle the hips down. Do 2 more like this. And we're keeping those shoulders rolled open. We're squeezing the glutes at the top to really open through the front of the hips. And then exhale as you soften all the way back down again. On this next one, we're going to come up and hold that position. So squeezing the glutes at the top. And then you're just going to hinge at the hips and set the hips down onto the floor, tap the floor and lift back up again. And off we go again, 5 of these in total. Again, keep that pressure down through the big toe of both feet. And then we're squeezing the glutes as we lift up. On your 5th one, we're going to stay up and float the arms back overhead. And then as you breathe out, we're going to lengthen the spine down onto the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time. We'll float the arms up and then down into a low V position. So we're going to go into our knee rolls. So keep the feet where they are, and we're going to let the knees drift across the body towards the left side. And go as far as you can before the right hip starts to lift off the mat, and then come back into the middle. So we're just going to work a little bit on our hip mobility first, and then add in a few more stretches. So the knees just drift across to the side. That little cup of tea that's sitting on your tummy isn't spilling over. It's just the legs moving rather than the entire body. And then come back to the middle. And on this next one, so I'm moving to the left, so I'm going to let my knees drift over towards the left side and let the left knee drift all the way down towards the floor. I'm going to press into the right foot to lift my right hip off the mat and keeping the right shoulder on the ground. So we're really opening through the front of the right hip, and we've got that nice stretch through the left side. Take a breath in here, and then as you breathe out, draw that right hip back down onto the mat, and then let the left knee come back into the middle. We'll do the same on the opposite side. So the right knee drops out to the side to start off, and then the left knee follows across, and the left hip lifts off the floor. Press into the left foot to lift that hip and open through the front of the hip that little bit more. And then we'll draw the hip back down onto the mat so that the leg returns. Just do one more to each side. So left knee opens out to the side to begin with. And then as the right knee follows, we press into the right foot, lifting the right hip off the mat. Thinking about the right knee reaching away from the right shoulder. And as you inhale, open through the rib cage, and then exhale to draw the ribs down and return back to your starting position. And again to the opposite side. So the right knee drifts out, left foot presses into the mat and open through the front of the hips. That's it. And take a breath in there. And then as you breathe out, draw that leg back, or draw the hips back onto the mat and return to our starting position. So from here, can you roll around onto your side? And we'll use our bottom hand just to rest onto. And we're going to go into our forward and back. I'm just going to check. The screen's coming and going a bit. All right, so set yourself up for forward and back. So we'll have the knees bent, feet stuck together, and our waist is lifted off the mat so that our spine is supported, drawn in from the tummy. So you can have your hand on the top of your hip or in front of you for balance, and we're going to reach that top leg out in front of us. Pointing the toes, we're going to sweep the leg forward and then draw that heel back. And we're thinking about stillness through the upper body as we move through the leg. We're going to do 6 in total. And on number 6, can you draw that heel back and point the toes back behind you and then set that leg down on toward the floor. So we're getting a little sense of an opening through the front of the hip, that's it. And then reach that top arm forward towards the front corner of your mat. This is just for a little bit of a stretch. And then hold that, and then as you breathe out, draw the elbow back in towards the knee, lift the knee up. We're going to connect those two together. And then we're going to reach arm and leg away, and then draw them back in again. And reach away. In for 6. Super. And then we can grab that ankle. Want to thread the foot behind us, so we're opening through the front of the hips. And then release. We're going to roll around and do the same on the opposite side. So again, get yourself set up, hips stacked, knees connected, feet connected, top hand resting on the hips. And then we'll press that top leg away towards the wall And point the toes as we sweep the leg forward. And then draw the heel back, keeping that leg at hip height. And again, 6 to 2. And see how long you can, so the leg, the heel is reaching out of the hip as we reach the leg forward and draw that heel back. And then on number 6, draw that heel all the way back, point the toes, and then so you're trying to reach them towards the back corner of your mat, set that toe onto the floor. And then the opposite arm, we're going to reach forward and hold that stretch. Reach the toes away from the fingers as you breathe in. And then as you breathe out, draw that elbow towards the knee and then reach the arm and leg away. And again, 6 to do in total. And once you've done your 6, can you roll around, press into your top hand, and then come up. Oh, sorry, I didn't do a wee stretch there on that side. So yeah, grab your ankle, open through the front of that hip, and then we'll roll around onto all fours. So come into a position where you have your elbows directly underneath the shoulders, knees directly underneath the hips. And we're just going to get our spine nice and loose. So whatever feels good for you here works. All right, so we're going to start off with our cat. And we're going to go through all our cat variations. So our normal cat, where we're rounding the spine away from the mat and nodding the head. And then coming back into neutral. And then our extended cat, where we're sticking our bum up into the air, the belly drops down towards the floor and your gaze looks forward. And then coming back. And then our nosy cat, where we're looking over one shoulder down towards the foot, as though we're shortening one side of the waist and lengthening the other side. And a variation of everything in between. So what we're going to do is one more lap of our cat, the extended cat, and our nosy cat. And then you can just move however feels good for you this morning. So take a breath in. And as you breathe out, think about a tennis ball rolling off the back of your back towards your feet as you scoop the tummy up to arch and curve the spine. Feel that curve rippling through the top of the spine as the head nods. And take a breath in. And as you breathe out, lengthen the spine back out. Head comes back in line with the spine and continues to look forward as the chest draws through the arms and your bum sticks up in the air. We'll totally reverse that curve. As you breathe out, you're going to come back into neutral. And then look over the right shoulder. So you're trying to bring your right hip closer to your right shoulder as you gaze down towards your foot. Take a breath in there, opening through the right side of the spine, and then come back through neutral. And let's do the same on the opposite side. And back again to the middle. One more time like this. So through our cat to begin with. So we're drawing the rib cage away from the mat. So the head nods, the tailbone nods, or lengthens down towards the floor. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, lengthen the spine back out and continue to reverse those curves into our extended cat. Tailbone up in the air, belly looks forward, drawing the shoulders down away from the ears. And take a breath in. As you breathe out, draw the belly back into our neutral position. And then we'll go and look over our right shoulder for nosy cat number 1. And then all the way around to look over the left shoulder, nosy cat number 2. And come back to the middle. And now you're free just to move your body how you feel. So we'll have our knees stuck to the ground, our arms stuck to the ground. But you can rock back, you can rock forward and side to side. You can draw a circle with your hips if you want to. You can draw a snake type movement, whatever just feels nice for your body this morning. Let's do that for another couple of seconds. And you're going to join me back in our rest position. So can you bring your heels all the way back towards your bum and just walk your hands forward. Allow the head to nod in between the arms. Take a breath in here and exhale out. And then on your next exhale, I want you just to come and restack the spine. And we're just going to do a little bit of lunging work before we come up to stand. So can you come up into a high kneeling position and bring your left leg forward? And let's think about the right knee and the left hip, right knee, left ankle drawn together towards each other. So we're actively engaging the muscles of the leg. So you'll feel it in your left hamstring and through the front of the right thigh as we pull those two together for 3, 2, 1, and release. And we'll do that one more time. So we'll not really see anything any different, but we're actively trying to pull that left heel towards the right knee. And release. And then from here, we're going to place our hands down onto the floor, just around where the ankles are. And then we're just going to rock back and forward, opening through the front of the hips. For 3, 2, and 1. And then come back up again. We're going to press that right knee into the ground, and we'll reach the right hand up towards the ceiling. Left hand reaches down towards the floor, and we come into a bit of a side bend. Take a breath in there and breathe out. Let that right arm come down by your side. And we're going to switch over. So we'll bring the left knee back underneath the hips again, and we'll bring the right knee forward. And just to start off with, the right heel pressing down into the ground, but it's actively drawn back towards the left knee. And we're going to hold that drawn together for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. And we'll do it one more time for 3, 2, 1, and release. Super. Let's set the hands down onto the ground and just work through that stretch for the hamstrings, a little bit of stretch through the front of the hips. And also it's quite nice around the ankle joint as well. So we'll keep the heel anchored into the floor as we rock back and forward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then bring your right heel back, knee underneath the hips. Can you tuck your toes? And then we're going to set our heels back, our hips back onto our heels, just for a little bit of a stretch through the feet. And go back as far as is comfortable for you. And we'll just hold that for another 3 seconds. 2, 1. We're going to come off the stand now. So we're going to do it through a transition. So can you walk your hands forward? Keep your toes tucked. And just walk your hands forward into a half plank position. And from here, we're going to press the knees off the ground, pressing the heels away to come into a plank. And then we're going to hold that position for 1 breath. Breathe in and exhale. And then on your next exhale, I want you to press the hips up towards the ceiling, press the heels down towards the floor, and we'll give these calves a little bit of a stretch. So press down through the right heel, allow the left knee to bend. Press down through the left heel, allowing the right knee to bend. And then we'll alternate from side to side. And then come to stillness, and then start walking your hands back towards your feet. So we finish up in that roll down position. And then take a breath in. As you breathe out, press down into the feet, and let's return our pelvis to that neutral position so we're not spilling water out the front or the back, and then restack the spine all the way back up to stand. We're going to go through a couple more roll downs just before we finish off. So let's take a breath in. As you breathe out, we're nodding the head and start to roll down one vertebra at a time. Think about the body lifting up and over a beach ball. So the tummy is trying to stay away from the thighs as we come all the way down towards the floor. We're going to stay here and do some more calf stretches. So as you breathe in, can you straighten and lengthen the right leg? Exhale to release. Inhale, straighten and lengthen the left leg. Exhale to release. And one more time to each side. And then take a breath in. As you breathe out, press down through the feet. Grow the spine all the way back up to stand. And then we'll take a breath in and sweep the arms out wide. Open the chest up towards the ceiling. And then as you breathe out, we'll start to roll forward again, nodding the head. Moving through the upper back, the mid back, then the lower back, and then we hinge forward at the hips as we come all the way down towards the floor. Take a breath in, straighten and lengthen your right leg and release. And then straighten and lengthen the left leg and release. And one more to each side. And then when you're ready, take a breath in, exhale, pressing down through the feet. We grow the spine all the way up to stand. And we'll just finish with our corkscrew arms. So we'll take a breath in, sweep the arms out wide. And then we'll bring the hands behind the head. Draw the hands back in towards the head. The head back into the hands. Breathe in, shrug the shoulders right up to the ears. Breathe out, let the shoulders drift away. And we open the elbows out wide. Breathe in, reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Look up towards those fingertips. And then as you breathe out, let the arms come down by your side. There we go, guys. You can give your shoulders a bit of a roll. Fingers a wriggle, toes a wriggle.